Hello, everyone. This is the Black Eel Podcast for another episode. Hopefully, this one actually gets recorded. So, for those of you who are not well aware, apparently my co-host is Mike, who is kind of here, kind of not. Um, okay,
What's
interesting.
happening?
It's saying that you're not uploading at a decent pace. Anyway. Oh, no, you're back to 99. We'll see if that changes anything. Anyway, let's get right to this, right? So today we're going to be talking about Star Wars, the two episodes of The Bad Batch, and where this is going to lead for the series and for Star Wars in general. And then we'll be moving into The Mandalorian. So let's get right into The Bad Batch. So these two episodes, were these the two? Because they all blend together. It's awful. Was this the island that with tsunami, and then Crosshairs warning everybody was the
Yes.
second episode?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Well, in the first episode, for the first episode of that, um, of the Bad Batch was really showed us, well, basically the Bad Batch wants to retire. I mean, that's pretty much what that whole episode was about. I mean, yes, they had to, they were skeptical still. They weren't 100% sure, blah, 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 blah. But realistically, they wanted a place to call their own. And I guess what really got me in this one, or what made more sense to me, was it got to show that their skills in the military can be used to help others in a non warlike way. I guess the best way to put it. Their
hmm
skills could be used to protect people in a way that I don't think they quite realized they could do. Especially saving all those people in the bottom part of the island,
hmm
and they rebuilt it rather quickly. I mean, it wasn't to the specifications as it was before, but they did a decent job, I thought.
Oh yeah.
Um, and then, I mean, that was more to show that they are at least thinking about retiring. And then the next episode basically kind of threw that right back in their face. Um, because it started off with what's his name, Echo, and we get to see Echo again, and I was super happy to see him. He was going to go to save some clones who are being sent to a prison, and they find out that the prison is where all the clones that are bad go, and it's still not 100% clear during this episode exactly what's being done, but it looks like they're being reprogrammed to do the bidding of the Empire. But I'm not 100% sure if they're staying in the army, though.
So, so going back a little bit, I liked the first episode because I liked I liked that episode that it showed life after the war,
Mm-hmm.
how they struggled a little bit, how it would be with all of the clones. Now that the war is over, they're being forced to retire. It'll be tough, but it's showing them that if they can find something, they can uh, achieve something that they never just thought was possible.
Agreed.
They seem happy. Like Wrecker just looks like he's having a time of his life, just goofing around. Um, and Omega obviously is thrilled because she can actually be a kid and she has a friend. Um, and just like I loved that episode. It had nothing to do with the like overall plot of the show. It was just a fun, it was a wholehearted episode and it was enjoyable. Um, and you just went
Oh,
into low data mode. What?
okay. Hold on one second.
Nope. Wait,
There you
you're
go.
back.
My,
Nothing.
I wasn't clicking anything. That was the weird part.
That's
Okay,
interesting.
sorry. Continue.
And then fast forwarding to the second episode, where Echo shows up, relays the message. We don't know where they are, what's going on. I think that facility
You
is
mean Crosshairs?
possibly, huh?
You mean Crosshairs sent the message?
No, Echo is sent the message to the Bad Batch about.
Oh, to want to decipher. Sorry,
Yeah.
my bad.
Um, or not sent it. He brought it. Um, he So I think yes, there are probably some that are going to be like re-educated into the Empire, but I think it's more along the lines of they're going to be like kind of what is going on with Echo or Crosshair with the scientists, because he specifically said bring all of the clones to me. I
Mm.
think he's going to be I think he's going to be trying to like dissect them or kind of things, so that way he can because they don't know how to clone yet. So they want to take them apart to try to figure out how they can clone so they can themselves start cloning.
I mean, that makes a good point. I didn't quite think of it that way. I thought of it more of like the assassin one. Remember that episode with the
Mhm.
assassin and it turned out to be a clone? I
Yeah.
was thinking more along the lines of that, but yours definitely makes the most sense after hearing
Like
it.
like I said, I think definitely some of them are going to be going into that, but I think the majority of them, because the whole with they just don't trust clones anymore, and they don't really like clones. So I
Mm.
think they're going to be trying to uh, only use that for extreme circumstances.
No, and I agree with you. I think you're absolutely correct. I think they're going to really try to figure out the cloning process. But I think also too that I feel like one of the bigger reasons why they're keeping Crosshairs alive more than the others um, is because he was their first shot. And when I say their first shot, I mean, bear with me. We don't know how many times it's been done like right,
Mm.
but it was the first time we saw them attempt to change the original product. Meaning they're clones, but they're enhanced clones. They're not regular clones.
I thought they were. I thought that was. I thought those were mistakes.
I thought they were purposely doing it. See, hear me out on this one. I think they told them they were mistakes, but I have a feeling that it was on purpose to see how much they could manipulate,
Mm-hmm.
um, so they could then use it for later use. I think that was the main point of that. Although I could be wrong, I
I
thought that
mean, I
was
agree
part
with
of
you.
it.
I do agree with that. I mean, it's not far fetched. It could very well be that they just lied.
Well, I mean, the other thing too is we've seen them attempt to adjust cloned creatures already. Like that
Mm-hmm.
creature that was absorbing the energy,
Yep.
supposedly it was enhanced with a harder, a harder skin or an exoskeleton.
Mm-hmm.
So clearly they're aiming towards it. Maybe it might not have been the goal for the Republic, technically, but it's definitely a goal for the Empire.
Yeah. No, I agree. I definitely
So
agree with that.
no, I do agree with you on that one. That's actually a really good point. Um, and that was pretty much. I mean, there was a lot going on, and it was just I like I'm assuming that the season is going to end with them attempting to break Crosshairs out.
Mm-hmm. I
I
agree.
mean there's 2 episodes left, so there's a lot that can happen in those 2 episodes.
And just so you know, because it's 2 episodes left, next week is going to be 2 episodes.
What?
Next week is 2 episodes.
Are you serious?
That's what I've been hearing. The finale is
Oh,
two episodes.
I don't think I can handle that. Oh, that just messes up everything. I thought I had 2 weeks left of this. Oh, it's really sad. Um, that just threw a wrench in my plans, man. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm happy because at least that way we get closure. But like, oh, that's depressing. Anyway,
Yeah,
let's move on to the
I've been
Mandalorian.
enjoying the season a lot. So the fact that
No,
it's
100
ending,
percent.
like,
No, and I
it
agree with
couldn't
you.
be.
This season was by far the better season of the two for sure. I mean,
Oh
without
yeah.
a doubt in my mind. I mean, like, I think it was only like episode 4 I didn't like or something like that. I forget. There was one that I wasn't as big of a fan of,
Yeah,
and
and
but it was only one.
as the season progressed, you turned around and said that you ended up liking it because you were expecting all of this, like you expected it to
Yeah.
be like the first season, where it's filler, 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 and it really wasn't.
No, and I agree with you. I think I do agree with you. I think I like the episode better now than when it first came out because it made me think of the first season being like
Hmm.
literally just filler for the most part for at least the middle of the season.
Yeah,
And
it
where
was
this
just them
one,
doing
it
nothing.
was looking like it was going towards that way just because it was so close to the beginning, and then now now obviously it's completely derailed my thoughts because it's done so much better,
Yeah,
and I'm super happy about that. Um, but
definitely.
yeah, that was my big thing with the cloning thing, was just the fact that they're really pushing towards the idea of like Palpatine really wants clones,
Hmm.
not necessarily the clone troopers, but cloning in general.
Yep,
All right,
definitely.
let's move on to the Mandalorian. Um, we had 2 episodes that aired. One was the bathing, and the next, no, wait, no, am I mixing them up?
I think that was,
It was the last time, wasn't it?
yeah,
This is the one where she pulls him out of the. This is what we see after she pulls him out of the water with the scientist.
yeah. This is the one with the scientist going into um, the reconcentration camp,
Yeah, and
and
then the
then
the one after that was Grogu's flashback.
yes,
Oh, okay, all right, I got this now. I'm good, good.
man. To think, it's only 2 episodes.
I know, I know, I know. All right, well, we can't talk about what I was originally going to talk about first, so let's move on. No,
I mean,
because
we
I
still
messed up.
can. We
Well, I
still
mean,
can talk about it because remember the last podcast didn't record.
no, that is true. No, I was thinking. No, in my mind, I was just thinking about the actor that played Jar Jar Binks was back. Did you
Oh,
hear about that? No, no,
yep,
but yeah, he was the Jedi,
yeah, yeah. He is.
and he's now loved after creating the worst character in existence, or like people have hated to the end. He now has a character that everyone loves because he saved Grogu.
See, I'm one of the few. I liked Jar Jar.
I didn't hate him. You know what it was too with him? I think for me, he was a joke character, but
Yeah,
like I think what's really gets me is like I don't know whether it was luck or skill because, and hear me out on this, like he did a lot of good.
yeah,
Like I know it made it like they made it look like he was being an idiot, and I do believe he is stupid to a certain extent, but like stupid when you compare him to like humans, I guess is the best way to put it, because he did a lot. I mean, for goodness sakes, he was good enough to be with Padme in
yeah,
the Senate.
yeah. I mean, granted, I don't know if he should have been like the interim chancellor or whatever when she was gone, but I mean, I agree with
No,
you.
I agree
He
with you, but you get my
definitely
point I'm making. I
no,
agree with you on that one, but I don't think he was as bad as everyone made him seem.
no, definitely. Like you said, he was the comedic relief, and
Yes.
I mean, for me, I loved it. Uh, so
I think honestly, I think it was the way he moved and just him talking.
yeah,
But like the other thing that gets me too is, and I sound awful saying this, but like Yoda doesn't talk in a normal, you know what I mean? Like in that normal sense,
hmm,
in like how our sentences are phrased. So the fact that we love Yoda
yeah,
and one of the reasons we hate Jar Jar Binks is one of the reasons that we like Yoda. Yeah, I
yeah,
mean it's just a weird thing.
hmm.
Obviously, there's more to it than that, I would imagine. But and plus, it was the prequels, and people had an issue with that. But anyway, um,
Time
let's
mends
talk.
all wounds.
Let's talk about the camps, the refugee camps from the Mandalorian, the one where the scientist came from.
Yep, that was an episode to me.
Well, it was an episode, but also too. I don't think I registered. I just assumed they all went to prison. Like anybody in the Empire was in prison.
I very much agree with you. I just assumed that they all went to prison or was on the run. I never expected them to be able to be like reintroduced into society.
But like they're
Um,
also not too, which is the weird thing.
well, they're working towards it. You know, they're trying to serve the new republic. So like they want. I mean, I imagine that this is a like I said, it was a re-education camp. They're trying to re-educate them back into the new republic ways and have them forget the ways of the empire. Um,
Yeah.
and eventually, if they see that their behavior is good, they'll be able to be released.
Yeah, all
Um,
right. I do get that. I don't know. I think it's because it's still in its infancy,
yeah.
um, where we don't see the light at the end of the tunnel
Hmm.
because nobody's really been released yet.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the first. I don't know if it's the first time, but it's like the first group or like the first settlement of like people being introduced to like the regular population,
This
but
is
they're
the
still
first batch.
segregated.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the first batch or if it's just the first city. You know what I'm saying? Like as weird as that
Oh yeah,
sounds,
yeah, yeah.
like
First
I
city,
don't
definitely the first city.
definitely the first city. I don't think it was the first batch, but you get my point I'm making.
Hmm.
Um, and I think I was surprised that the two of them got there so quickly because they just recently got captured.
Yeah, at the
I
end
think it
of
was another thing for me.
the end of season 2.
Yeah. So I think that was a little bit of a surprise for me, but that is what it is. I think the other thing too for me was the fact that we discussed this I don't know, weeks ago, who knows, about the fact of the actual motivation of the female officer trying to convince the doctor to start up the cloning again.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because I know you were talking about how some people are thinking that she was purposely doing it to to show that he still has weakness. Not
Yeah.
you personally, but you heard about it. Because I know
Yes.
you
Yeah.
didn't think it was a that made sense, and I agree with you. It didn't make sense.
Yeah.
Um, no, I think for me it was the fact that I'm curious to know whether she knows what's going on with Gideon, Moff Gideon.
So I very much think she's 100% still serving him. I think she's acting out of his command, and I think he's escaped because we don't know what's happened to him.
Correct.
So I think he's escaped. She got captured on purpose to try to thwart the new republic and help him grow his militia back.
Okay, so you. Oh, okay. So that paints a whole different picture. I mean, it makes sense because it's the place where the doctor is. The
Yeah.
doctor was the leading one for the cloning. So my question for you is: all this push for the cloning. I know in the sequel series we know that Palpatine is working on cloning himself.
Hmm.
Do you think we're going to see signs of Palpatine being alive
I don't
this
think it's gonna
early?
be. I don't think it's gonna be Palpatine. I think it's gonna be more Snoke's. They're gonna be like showing like little hints of Snoke,
Okay,
um,
okay.
because I mean Snoke is a failed Palpatine clone. So I think that uh, at, I don't know if it's going to be by the end of this. Definitely, okay. I think by the end of the season, we're going to start seeing it tying more in together of uh,
Into the sequel series.
into the sequel series where what's his name, Mando is going to become more involved, and you're going to see the Empire fizzling out and the First Order taking more in control. Even though I mean they're the same, but
Uh, I don't know. We also don't know when the First Order started. I think that's another thing too. Like we really don't know when that started. Like, did it happen automatically, type of thing, or was there a gap in time?
well, my I imagine that it's going to probably be like oh the First Order came to save them from the Empire, and they like oh we defeated the Empire, but in actuality they're just the same group trying to save face. Um,
Oh, okay, I get what you're saying.
that's like it's not really like it's going to be like the First Order comes out of nowhere. I think it's just going to be like
The
in
Empire
Marvel,
being like
be like with the
re
Marvel with the whole Hydra versus the Nazis thing. Like they're the same group, but one's more extreme. Um,
more like they're rebranding themselves. Really, that's what it comes down to.
yes, thank you,
Okay.
thank you.
No, 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 but I get it. I get what you're saying. Yeah. All right. I mean, I just was wondering too because I know that people hate the sequels movies or the trilogy as a whole. Not necessarily all the movies individually, but definitely the trilogy as a whole. So I was just thinking to myself, like, because, and we've talked about this too, like Clone Wars, like Star Wars, the Clone Wars specifically like helped out the prequel series and
Yep.
where people loved it. I mean, we got Darth Maul in a way that we never got to see. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we got some characters in depth of like we got characters that were killed in like the third movie who we didn't even know in the hole in the wall until we saw Clone Wars and we were like, "Oh, sad." So
Oh
I'm
yeah.
wondering if they're going to do the same thing with these shows and really boost up their their I don't want to say their ratings, but boost up where we get to see more of these characters develop, but also
Yeah,
more of the story. Meaning, like we see the growth of this new powerhouse come to be, and that it was literally just the Empire changing its name again. But
yeah.
but we kind of figured that anyway. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like it wasn't like it would be all that far fetched. It just wasn't specifically stated.
Yeah.
Um,
No, these shows, the Bad Batch and uh, Mandalorian right now, are going to be helping fill in the gaps of what happened between, uh, you know, 6 and 7, and they're
Well,
going
mostly the
to.
Mandalorian because the Bad Batch, remember, is between 3 and 4.
Right, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, they still are. They're still giving us ideas in the sense of like them looking at cloning and stuff like that,
Hmm.
and like it's never really gone away. So it is pushing the story forward, and it's like proving that like the Empire never really stopped investigating cloning. They just haven't been able to figure it out because they're stupid.
They don't have the Caminonians.
Well, I also think too, like one of the bigger things, and we've talked about this a lot, but I think the biggest issue the Empire had was getting rid of like people who were competent.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, the more competent the person, the less likely they were to follow orders. But like they lost like significant amount of technological advances.
Well, the issue that they had was the Empire wasn't unified. It was so in the Republic and the early Empire with the clones, they were very much, we serve the Republic, we serve the Empire, we do whatever we need to do. They were loyal. In as they got rid of the clones and started going to conscription, they were loyal, but they were loyal to themselves. They
Mm.
wanted to promote themselves. So they weren't looking out for the good of the Empire, they were looking out for the good of themselves. So that's where the issues came from, because instead of working together, you had factions and powerhouses within the Empire trying to thwart each other, and that ended up hurting the Empire more than helping it.
Emperor Palpatine, I saw him looking at some rebel paraphernalia. Let's get rid of him. But like that's literally what I think of because that's what it really was.
Yeah,
Or that's what it's showing. And it's like
absolutely.
and then I'm thinking to myself like how the hell did they get so powerful? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like obviously they had the technology already and they were literally forced loyalty. But like at the same time it's just like but then again it also was destroyed rather easily too, so it's like a catch 22.
Hmm.
I mean, for goodness sakes, their biggest plan was the Death Star, and the creators of the Death Star purposely put in the way of a self destruct button, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, so
Twice.
like,
Twice.
well, we can't change the designs; they got to be verbatim. Um, I just love the Family Guy like reference of Star Wars when they do it. They're like, "Well, we can. It's going to cost us a lot." And you just see them at the meeting talking about there's going to be a gaping hole where like the size of a wombat
Oh, yeah,
blast,
I
yeah,
remember.
and Stewie, who's Darth Vader's like, oh well, let's fix this. It sounds like a serious problem if it will blow up the whole thing. And he's like, but it's going to cost us a lot of money. Like, how much money? And he says the number, and Stewie's like, well, all right. Can we get like a piece of plywood or something? Like, let's just do that. And it just makes me laugh because it's one of those things where it's like, it wouldn't be all that surprising that that was part of the talk of the rebuilding of it. Maybe not necessarily the first time they built it, but like the second time. Like, don't you think we should change it slightly? Like, get rid of the
Mhm.
hole? No, 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 no. It's fine. It's fine.
It'll
We'll
be
be
fine.
fine.
Don't worry about it. They won't do it again.
Come on. They had one guy go in there. All right, we're gonna have a lot more people to stop him. But yeah, no, I'm happy with that episode. I'm happy of the next episode after that too, where we really get to see a flashback. And I know we talked about this. Um, was the flashback of Order 66,
Hmm.
which we get to see a little bit more about Grogu sees. I, I think there's still a lot of time missing. I mean, we know that,
Hmm.
um,
It's
but
been 5 years. Yeah. Yeah.
no,
No. That's
no,
Order.
it's been
Sorry.
no.
Sorry. It's been a lot longer.
Yeah, I was gonna say no, no. We have all of 3, 4, 5, and 6 that went through, and
Yeah,
then now we're
no,
here.
my bad.
Um, no, but what I'm getting at is just one of those things where it's like we got to see him. We got to see how he escaped at least.
Hmm.
We at least
Yep.
now know that how he escaped, but we don't know anything after that. Um, and like I said, the actor of Jar Jar Binks has returned as the Jedi. Um,
I enjoy that. I hope I can. I'm looking forward to seeing more of him. I'm curious to see what happened with him. If he survived, if he got killed, if he's helping people still.
I'm wondering if we're going to, as weird as it sounds, we might actually see them in the Bad Batch. Maybe not this season,
It's possible.
because
Definitely
remember
possible.
we're all because with what Rex and Echo are creating, is going to be what I would assume is going to be the rebellion. It's going
Hmm.
to turn into the rebellion, which means we're going to have Obi-Wan and Leia and Ahsoka Tano. So if we have Ahsoka Tano in the mix too, um, we're going to see her. We're going to see some Jedi that we haven't seen in a while. I think. I think we're going to see like the as many of them as we can because this guy was just introduced, and I think everyone's happy with it. I am anyway. I
Oh
mean, he
yeah.
was dual wielding it like it was nothing. He was taking out clone troopers like they were Swiss cheese. I mean, it was beautiful. Um, but I really thought he was going to die at the end of that episode or at the end of that flashback.
I thought so too. I thought
But
so
I
too.
I
But
was very impressed that he survived. I mean, clearly he must be good at his job. Um,
well, he trains the Padawans, so
yeah, well, didn't a lot of them? Didn't a lot of them? A lot of them are
apparently
dead.
he's a very vital role in it. So
Well, that's great, and I'm hoping we get to know more about him. But definitely interested in that. But I think the bigger thing too was the small bit of what was happening in the Mandalorian, or the actual Mandalorian story, I guess you would say. Instead of the flashback, like what we got to see with Bo-Katan, and just seeing her be the leader was nice again. I thought.
hmm
Um, I,
I think her story right now, like at the end of the first episode, you see her talking about the mythosaur and how the armorer was like, oh, it's your imagination. You can see a lot of things when you start following the way. And she's like, no, it was real. And she's like, it sure was. And
well, no,
so it's
see, I disagree with you on that one. I
oh,
don't
you
think
did.
she was condescending. I think she was making a point. No, meaning like no, no. What I mean is like she's like, yes, you see a lot when you follow the way.
Yeah.
Meaning like the only way you would have seen it is because you were going towards the way of the Mandalore.
Well, yeah, yeah. No.
I mean,
I said my part wrong. I
no,
agree
no,
with
no.
you.
But you get what I'm saying because it did at the very beginning. It did sound like she was being condescending,
Hmm.
but I think at the end of it, I think what got me was the fact that she was basically stating to Bo-Katan, like Bo-Katan, um, that when you follow this way, you'll be seeing things that you can't, like, you won't even understand,
Hmm.
type of thing. And I
Agreed.
think, and I think that was a bigger hit to Bo-Katan because she then realized, oh, she wasn't patronizing me. Like she
Hmm.
was legitimately telling me that I saw the real thing, and she didn't not believe me. She
Yeah.
was just like, "Yeah, welcome to the way. This is the way." It's like this is the way. I don't know what to tell you.
But
This is the way.
I did enjoy that episode because it, like you said, we got to see her be the leader. She got a group together. She scouted out. She went farther ahead than the other guys. Did.
She also
Uh,
outsmarted them too. She used her ship, which I thought was
yeah.
hilarious. I'm sorry. To me, that was like, really,
Cheating.
guys. Yeah, like, well, it wasn't cheating. It was intelligent.
No, it
Like,
was.
I was just like, and I'm thinking to myself, none of these idiots put two and two together.
But I definitely think we saw. She definitely has her own agenda with this. She wants to be able to rule Mandalore. She be the leader of the Mandalorians. So I think she's going to be using this. I think we talked about this. She's gonna be building their trust, and hopefully, she's gonna be trying to like overtake everything and become the leader once again. Um,
Yes, but I don't think it's going to be based on this episode. I mean, things can change, obviously. But based on this episode, I'm actually thinking that she might be offered leader.
Well, yeah, yeah. I mean, no, she could be offered leader. I don't. I mean, I'm
I mean,
not.
I
I
agree.
don't know how they're gonna do it. Obviously,
Mhm.
like she could take over and go a number of different ways. Uh,
Correct.
I think she's using her. She's trying to gain their trust so that they'll want her to be in charge, and she's realizing that that's a better plan than trying to take over forcefully, because then that's not going to work.
Correct. No, I agree with you. I do agree that she has a hidden agenda, but that I mean that's been known from day one, in my opinion. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like we know
Oh
that
yeah.
she's looking to take over Mandalore again. So like that piece isn't all that surprising, but I do agree with you. I just think it's going in a much different way than I originally had thought.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way though. Definitely in
No.
a much better way than I thought of, which is
One
excellent.
of the things that I saw online, which I kind of agree with, people are wanting Bo-Katan to mention her sister,
Okay.
which would be nice. She's the former leader of Mandalore. Why not mention her sister?
I think I think if they do, if she does, she will do it when she becomes or when the question of leader comes to be, is what I'm thinking. That would be my guess because that would make the most sense in my mind because she would take the things because I think she's learned first off that she knows that her sister wasn't wrong but wasn't right either. Like her way wasn't 1,000% correct,
Mm-hmm.
but I think she's noticed that a lot of what her sister was doing needed to be done. And I think because of that, she might be a much different leader than she would have been um, before that. So I think the fact that her seeing her sister and her sister dying, obviously, and then seeing everything like fall around her, like her trying to do it her way, and I think she's realizing, or she may have already realized, that she can't do it her way. She's got to do it more like her sister, a more
Mm-hmm.
diplomatic way, and that might be the reason why she's doing what she's doing. Also, I saw this video of the actress who plays Bo-Katan, who obviously also voiced her
Yeah.
in Clones and Rebels. She said she had an easier time voicing the character than acting as the character because she was like, when I was voicing her, I could just do whatever I wanted behind the microphone and everything else.
Oh yeah.
But she goes, when I was on screen, she was like, I rewatched. She was like, I rewatched Clone Wars and Rebels, and she was saying that when she was focusing on was the movement that Bo-Katan had, and she was like every time she spoke and every time she spoke and every time she moved, it was with a purpose. There was nothing she did that wasn't already thought through.
Mm-hmm.
Not that it always worked out, but like she thought it through before doing so. And so apparently that's what her like main focus is, which is why I think she has a lot more pauses in her speech because if you notice when she says certain things, there's like a sometimes, especially when it comes to the lore of Mandalore, she pauses a lot, or like there's a little bit of like a delay in her speech. I don't know if you've noticed that. Like it's almost
I've
as if
noticed it a little
she's,
bit. Yeah.
yeah. I think it's because she's not that so much that she's not thinking fast enough. I think she's realizing that I'm not going to say this. I'm going to say this instead. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And I
She's
think
becoming more of the character.
yes, agreed. And I think it's done like excellently in my opinion.
Oh yeah. She's
Um,
doing a really good job.
Also, I'm not gonna lie to you. I have no idea where this season's gonna go.
Oh yeah. No.
I'm assuming it's got to be something with Moff Gideon, or like the end of the season is the rise of Moff Gideon again. But like right now, right at this second, the only thing that seems plausible to me is the rise of Bo-Katan as the leader of Mandalore. Like that's right now the only thing I see being like the main focus of this season right now.
Somehow this is going to tie into Mandalore rising again, and Moff Gideon coming back to power. Somehow they're going to collide.
Uh,
We don't know how they're going to get there, but that's how I see this story going.
I agree with you, but what I'm saying is like because we haven't seen a lot of it, a lot of them, I guess you
Mm-hmm.
would say. I don't see that being the case right this second, but there are still also 4 episodes left, so a lot can happen.
Yep.
I'm just stating that they've done a great job of us not knowing what's going to be happening, and
Yes.
and I think
Agreed.
that's what makes it so much better. I mean, they've done it with the, like I said, the Bad Batch as well. I'm just super excited about it. And I'm just happy that it's continuing.
No, I like that it's keeping me on the edge of my seat because like I'm watching this and going, okay, what's going to happen next instead of sitting there going, okay, this is clearly what's going to come. Now I'm able to enjoy the ride instead of predicting everything that's happening.
Yeah, I think the other thing too is like when we saw the second in command for Moff Gideon. I don't even remember her title, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
And when she was messing with the doctor, in the like at first I'm like, oh, she's definitely gonna mess with the doctor. But then in the middle of the episode, I'm like, oh my god, she's actually helping him. Like, because I was like, oh,
Yeah.
maybe I'm
Oh
just
yeah.
an awful person. Like,
No,
how dare I
I
not think?
100% agree with you. My
And I was like, oh,
exact.
maybe I should think that people can change. And then she zaps him, and I'm like, oh, I was right all along. I should have listened to me. I
God,
should
I'm
never
like, there's
not
no
listen to
doubt.
me. How dare I doubt myself? But yeah, no, the Star Wars is getting better. I'm super excited about it, but we're definitely gonna have to wait and see what's gonna be happening for the rest of the seasons. Um,
Yes.
all right, so your turn now, Mr. DC.
We're moving on to DC. All right.
Yeah,
So we decided to pose a question. Um,
and everyone listening can play along too.
oh Jesus. Oh, that's the wrong question. All right. So we
Story of our
decided to
life.
pose a question with. We came up with one because of Suicide Squad, the video game coming out, where Task Force X has been called to take down the Justice League. We decided to think, why not get a member of the Justice League? What if they go rogue and the government, instead of calling Task Force X, they hire a bunch of assassins to try to take them down? Now, the problem with DC is that their heroes, the main members of the Justice League, are really stupidly overpowered. So we kind of had to think of someone that wasn't stupidly overpowered, who's still stupidly overpowered, but not as to the extent of the other guys that the assassins could probably take out.
Well, I was also thinking too, like, so we talked, like, obviously Mike came up with this idea, but I didn't. His original thought was Superman. I was like, no,
Yeah,
only and
no,
again, only because he's just OP. Like,
yeah,
I'm thinking to myself, like, literally every assassin we were thinking of dead, dead, dead,
yeah,
dead, right? And so we talked about it, and we thought about Blue Beetle. And the reason why we thought of Blue Beetle was because it would make more sense that the Scarab would take control over Remy and then go rogue.
yep.
Like that would make more sense. And also, we would also have Remy kind of fighting on the inside with the assassins fighting on the outside.
Which, this is funny because this is a storyline in the Young Justice TV show.
I didn't know that.
You did not know that,
No, because
which
I haven't seen it.
I knew this, and I'm just going for the ride.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
pretty
a little
I'm pretty sure
disappointed in
this is
myself.
like the first season, the whole first season of the Young Justice.
Is it? I thought the
Yeah.
first season was them training. Like they attacked. They like.
Well,
Uh, yeah.
they trained in season 1. They were training and whatever, but Vandal Savage takes over the Justice League, and he uses the Beatles because there's more than one Beetle. He
Yes.
uses the Beatles to gain the trust. Like the Beatles take over the people, gain the trust of all the Justice League members, and then use them to corrupt the rest of the members.
Yeah. No. No, I didn't
It's
know
a
that.
good show.
Oh no. I'm not. Here's the thing. I'm not saying it's not a good show. I'm not arguing that. What I'm stating is I have no. I don't utilize
You
my
didn't
time
know.
properly. I'll do that. I'll say that I do not utilize my time properly.
I mean, you're still on Smallville.
Yeah, I am. I am. I am. Which
Anyways,
is so good. But anyway, so who are the
so
5 assassins?
Blue Beetle has gone rogue, and the government has hired 5 assassins: Deathstroke, Deadshot, Red Hood, Bronze Tiger, and Ra's al Ghul. Out of these 5 members, we are going to go through, talk about it,
We're gonna
and
rank them, right? And most successful to least successful.
yeah, we're gonna
Okay.
talk. We're gonna talk. We're gonna try to figure out who we think would be successful, who will not be successful, if any of them will be, or if none of them will be. And I just said the same thing in two different ways the same way.
Well, I mean, one was better than the other, but we'll move on from that. All right, let's start with the first one, Deathstroke. Oh wait, this is something we didn't talk about. Um, how much prep time do they have?
A day or two.
Let's make it 12 hours because it would make more sense. Because if he's already going rogue, they've already just hired the assassins, and they'll need him out there rather quickly. So let's say 12 hours because that would make the most sense.
Yeah. Okay,
Okay.
yeah. No more than a day. Absolutely, 12
All right,
hours.
fair enough. That I agree with. Deathstroke. I mean, first off, very skilled. I'm not worried
Incredibly
about that
skilled.
front.
He is the most famous and most talented assassin in the DC universe.
Agreed. He's also got an arsenal that is incredible. Like his regular arsenal is ridiculous.
He's a
Uh,
master martial artist. He's a master swordsman. He's a master gunsman. Any
but like
weapon he uses.
but like the thing that gets me is it's like a lot of these guys are all the same, but like he's got all of that on him at all times. Like I
Yeah.
think that's one of the bigger differences of him than all the others is he has everything he's skilled with on him at all times. So he has a
Yes.
sniper, he has regular handguns, he has knives, sword, a staff. He's got you name it, he's got it. I think he's even got gadgets, EMP grenades and shit like that. I mean, he's got
Mm-hmm.
it all. I mean, I don't think there's anything he doesn't have.
Yeah.
I don't. So here's my question: do you think? Because I brought it up. Do you think an EMP grenade or would actually be able to stunt the Scarab? My initial reaction is yes, but it's also alien technology. It doesn't have to, and I don't know if there's ever been. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think it can affect. I don't think
Okay,
the
I
EMP
didn't.
can affect it.
Okay, fair enough. I think he'll try it. I definitely think he'll try it.
He'll definitely try it because he doesn't know it can't. I
Correct.
think. I think the only way to defeat it is if Remy can get to his senses and take back control, or if you just do so much damage to it that it just fails because it can't handle the stress,
Now,
and
correct
then
me
you
if
have to
I'm.
kill Remy.
Well, that's none of these guys have a problem with that.
No.
Not a. So no, that's not even a thought in my mind at this point.
Oh, well,
He's.
out of any of them, maybe Red Hood.
I'm not even confident he'd care, but I do agree with you. Out of all of them, he would be one of them. So here's my question: is the backpack the weak point?
Mm. It's
Yes.
tough. It's very
I'm,
tough.
but you get my
So,
this changes my answers. That's why I'm asking.
I mean, it's the hard shell. Think of the beetle. You
No,
know,
no, I get that, but I'm saying that hypothetically, you break that, you break the whole thing, correct?
yes. I mean, that's literally the brain. So if you destroy that, you kill it.
I think he would be adept enough to know to attack it. I don't know. I don't know if he'd have anything strong enough to actually break it. Um, I'm gonna go with. I mean, he's also go toe to toe with like superpowered beings, so like it's not all that
He has.
unheard of that he's gonna go up against Blue Beetle. Arsenal wise, I think he's outgunned. Um, but he's been before. So I'm gonna go with Deathstroke has a chance, but I don't think he has. I feel like he might be second or third for me. I don't think he's going to be the best one out of the group. I do think he will be able to figure out where to attack and attempt to, but I don't know if he has the arsenal to actually take it out.
I agree with you. I think he will put up one hell of a fight.
Agree.
I think he will adapt and try to figure out how he can destroy it. But I don't think he has the arsenal strong enough to take it out.
Correct.
I think that tech is just too strong for him. And I mean, he has gone, like you said, he has gone up against super powered beings.
But so is everyone else on this list too, which is another
Yes.
issue. Um,
Um,
so I'm gonna place him right this very second. Let's say second.
I agree with you on that. Probably second
Well,
right
yeah,
now.
I might change it, but like for right now, I'm thinking second. All right, Deadshot. Here's my issue with Deadshot. I feel like I feel like he would have more hits on the Scarab back than Deathstroke.
With the long range equipment, I think I agree with you with that.
I don't know if he necessarily will be more successful because of that. So like Deathstroke and Deadshot right now are two sides of the coin, where Deathstroke would 100% be able to figure out where to attack right
Hmm.
away. I don't think Deadshot would be as quick as Deathstroke on that knowledge,
Agreed.
but when both are able to figure it out of the two, Deadshot is hitting that more times than Deathstroke.
Hmm. I would
And
agree with you.
so, I mean,
If
he's gonna. I'm sorry, say
Yeah,
that.
no. I was gonna say if he can get his shots off, but Deadshot will get his shots off.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, he hits walls to hit the thing. I mean, he's gonna do it.
yes, yeah. And plus, he has more. Deathstroke, like we said, Deathstroke has all of his arsenal on him at all times, whereas Deathstroke
Deadshot.
um has a Deadshot has a bigger weapon arsenal, like
Well,
more
he
for
has more different types of bullets, not necessarily.
yeah,
Um,
like
so
stronger weaponry in terms of gunfire.
yes, and so like I'm on the fence on putting which one higher than that. So right now they're like second and third. They're like back and forth. I'm not confident on which one above.
I think right now for me it's Deathstroke at number two, Deadshot at number three.
Okay, fair enough. Raja Ghul, I want to hear your thoughts on this one because I feel like I feel like he's not going to be able to do it.
I don't think so. I think he will. He is the most skilled with a
He's
sword.
also the oldest.
He's the oldest. He's the wisest. He can work with the shadows the best. But I don't think he will be able. He doesn't have nearly enough power to do any real damage to the scarab. I don't think. I think he can.
No, I agree with you. It's tough because he does have all that knowledge. He would have known the other beetle users or the other scarab users, and but at the same time, that doesn't mean he would be any better off
No,
because of it.
just because he knows how to doesn't mean he can.
Correct, correct. Or also with the short amount of prep time, because I feel like Raja Ghul, and people are going to get mad at me when I say this, but I compare him to Batman, where like if you give him enough prep time, he should be able to take somebody out. But I don't think that quickly he'd be able to come up with something, because I don't think in his mind Blue Beetle was ever a real threat to him.
Yeah, Blue Beetle isn't really something that's usually on his radar.
Yeah,
He's not looking for something like that. He's looking to cleanse the cities. So some kind of threat of Blue Beetle to a Blue Beetle level, it's never been some kind of concern to him.
yeah. You think in fifth?
Uh, Honestly, I'm not sure between 4 and 5 for him.
Okay. Let's move on to the Bronze Tiger because I have a question.
Okay,
Which Bronze Tiger are we using?
what do you mean?
Are we using the one that can't transform into a humanoid tiger or can transform into a humanoid tiger?
I mean, I was going with the one that can't, but I mean, we could go either or.
I feel like the one who can't would be in fifth place for sure.
Agreed. That's why I didn't know which one to put on the list.
But the one that can transform into a tiger has a better shot. Stronger, faster. I mean, he's got all the same skills, all the same martial arts skills and everything else, just as deadly, but has the tiger strength and the sharp claws. Now, the sharp claws do not mean that he's going to be able to cut through the armor, but
Yeah.
what I'm getting at is he has a lot more of attacks put into place because of that.
With the humanoid form, he just gets a little bit of a boost to give him more of a shot.
Yeah.
I
Uh,
don't think this is going to really make much of a difference for him because, I mean, unlike the other ones, he is a good assassin, but I mean, he's not really. When it comes to the other three so far, I think he kind of falls short compared to the other ones.
no, I agree. I feel like he was originally going to be my fifth from the get go, but like Raja Ghul, I kept thinking to myself, like all I picture him is with a sword.
Yep,
You know what I'm saying? Like he's running
yep.
there with a sword, and I'm like, not to say he like. Don't get me wrong. I mean, he can kill a lot of people. I am not stating that, and I'm not saying he can never kill Blue Beetle. I'm just stating in this situation by himself, I can't picture him actually winning a one-on-one fight.
So now here's my question to you: if the government hires Ra's al Ghul to do this, you think Ra's al Ghul would go alone to do this and not bring his League of Assassins to back him up?
Well, all right. So I agree with you that he would, but I thought for this scenario we wouldn't put that in.
Okay, fair enough.
I thought we were going, mano a mano.
No,
I do agree with you that he
I
would,
agree.
but I feel like it also, I don't know. I feel like they'd be. I mean, it would raise his chances because they'd be distracted and he'd be able to go for an attack.
So I want to be clear that I mean, even if they bring in the League of Assassins with him, I don't think it would really do anything. I think if he has the League with him, I think maybe it would go up to fourth place instead of fifth place. That's how insignificant I think it really is, to be honest.
I agree with you, but I do think he'd be more successful, or
Yes,
more of a chance of being successful. All right, so are we thinking? Just so I'm aware, are we thinking Raja Ghul fifth or Bronze Tiger fifth?
I'll go with Raish 5.
Raish five, Bronze Tiger fourth right now, and that means we both think Red Hood's has the best chance.
Clearly, that's how it goes.
I know I said it, but I just wanted to make it clear. I'm just thinking Batman. Like that's really what it
Yeah.
comes down to.
No,
Like,
I 100%. I'm like
like that's the first thought I had was like, there's no way
he has the training from Batman. He would have the most knowledge. Batman would 100% ingrind the contingency plan in him in case something goes wrong. If Red Hood were to go up to Batman and say, "Hey, Blue Beetle's a problem. What can we do?" Batman would be able to inform him, or like I said, he's been trained, so he would definitely be able to figure it out on his own. But I'm just like giving you like an extremist
Yeah, I mean,
scenario.
I just imagine Batman's only question is which one, Beetle 1, Beetle 2, or Beetle 3? Like Beetle 3. He's like, okay, here you go. Here's the book. Don't mess it up. And I want it back in this by a week. You have 1 week to keep this book out, and then I want it back in my office. Um, I even think I don't even think he would need to go to Batman, to be honest with you. I feel like with his training with Batman alone, he would have come up with some sort of solution to get rid of him without Batman's help. Because I want to
Agreed.
keep like third parties out of this.
No, I
Um,
100% agree.
but
I
I
think
do, but I still think out of all of them, because of his training, because of the access to the technology that he has, he would have the most. He would have the easiest time out of all of them to take out Red Hood, to take out Blue Beetle.
agreed, 100% agreed. I think he, um, I think his training would help him
Oh yeah.
get that done.
No, 100% agreed. All right. Well, that was actually easier than I thought. So we're gonna go with. All right. We're gonna go with first place, Red Hood.
Yep.
Second place, Deathstroke.
Mm-hmm.
Third place, Deadshot. Fourth place, Bronze Tiger, specifically the one that can transform into a tiger. And then Raja Ghul fifth.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So now
Wonderful.
we're gonna. Oh, I'm sorry. What?
I said wonderful.
Yes. Well, sometimes it works out perfectly. Um. Oh, and let us know in the comments if you guys agree or disagree with us and why. We will definitely be more engaged in the chat if you guys mention anything. So make sure you let us know what you guys think. Do you agree, disagree? Right down below. But anyway, let's move on to the next segment of our story, which is Marvel. So I pose the question: Thanos is looking for the Infinity Stones. Who do we have as one person to take care of each stone to make sure that Thanos does not get it? So there are 6 stones, as we're aware. There's the Time Stone, the Power Stone, the Reality Stone, the Space Stone, the Stone, and the Mind Stone. So let's start off. Do we want to tell? Do we want to go like each of us do one stone at a time, or do you want to do all 6 of your stones and then all 6 of my stones?
No, do one stone at a time. We say who we think it is and why, and we move on.
Okay. Well, let's go with the first stone we see in the MCU, which is the Space Stone.
Okay. I'm going first?
Yeah.
Okay. Space Stone. I went with Odin.
That's a good one. That's a good one. All right. I'm assuming I know the answer, but please elaborate.
Well, I mean, space. But he's always been the one to, in the MCU, he's been the one, that always tried to protect all the realms. So I figured for giving it to him, he would be a proper one. Most beings in the universe do fear Odin. He's powerful enough to protect it if someone does try to come and take it. Obviously, in the comics, he's a lot more powerful than in the MCU. And
he's also dead in the MCU.
Yep. Yes. So aren't a lot of people that I'm sure we might have put on our list as well.
No, actually, only one of mine is dead.
You know what's funny is that Odin's the only one that's dead on my list too.
Oh, okay, that's hilarious. All
right. So yeah, I mean, I just he's powerful enough. Most beings fear him. He can hold his own against most of the beings that would come after him. And just the idea of him always being the protector of all the realms, it made sense to me that he would also protect one of the most powerful items in the universe.
No, and I agree with you. In the sense of like that makes sense. I mean, one of the big things for the criteria for who I wanted to keep track of each of the stones, I wanted them to either have a power that was related to the stone, or that the stone's power would not be so abstract to them, I guess you would say. And so for my Space Stone holder, I had Sentry.
Oh, okay.
So Sentry is a being known more in the faith community, but he's basically Marvel's Superman. Although there's a lot of Marvel Supermen, we have Blue Marvel and all that stuff, but this particular one is just because I know there's so many, but this particular one is just known more as like the space superhero. Like he was like, when you see him with the big S on his chest and everything, he's what you think of as like the most powerful space being. Now he's got all the energy stuff and everything else. I feel like he'd keep it safe. Although I do like Odin better, I'm not gonna lie to you, but Sentry was something I thought. Well, no, because I didn't even think of Odin. You know what I'm saying? Like I just didn't think of him. But no, I picked Sentry because he's a powerhouse. He would be able to also has been a lot of places. So like if he used the Space Stone to disappear, he would know a lot of places to go, and like he'd know where he was. I think that's another key factor too. Now, obviously Odin would too. But I'm just stating like that was one of the reasons why I picked Sentry, because there were a lot of others I was thinking about. Like I was thinking of Captain Marvel. I was also thinking of potentially the Guardians of the Galaxy as a unit. But I went down with Sentry because I felt like one being would be safer than it being a group of people.
For the Space Stone, I almost chose Captain Marvel as well, but I wanted to go with something a little bit different. It's funny because for Sentry, I actually one of the finalists for me for one of the other stones.
Oh, I think I know which one. So the next one on our list is going to be the second one that was seen in the MCU, which was the Power Stone.
Which that was the one that I had said was the finalist for the Sentry.
All right. So here's my thing. This wasn't a difficult one for me because there were so many people I was thinking of. I was thinking of the Hulk, like Bruce Banner, but then I was like, like it wouldn't be smart to give it to the Hulk.
No,
Um,
I agree with that. I was
and
trying to
like
go with more like logical ones when it comes to these. When it comes to these stones, most of them I tried to be able to get someone that had the um, space knowledge. Um,
oh, okay,
because as much as as much as these people from Earth, you know, were powerful and whatnot. I tried to use more because, in retrospect, in terms of the universe, they're not that smart compared to most people, except for a select few, and they can't really handle the universe. Um, but for the like I said, for the Power Stone, I Sentry was one of the last ones that I was picking. I ended up going with Adam Warlock.
well, that's a good one.
I figured he was, he's a very powerful being. He's been through space. He's, uh, you know, it depends on the circumstance that you use him. He's either a very old being or a very young being, but he's still very powerful.
Agreed.
So again, if someone were to come after it, I think Adam Warlock would be able to hold his own to be able to counteract it. And if he has the Power Stone, it would significantly enhance his powers. And Adam Warlock, gets that loves that high. So
No, and that's a good one too. I mean, he was not somebody I thought of, although I was thinking slightly for him for the Space Stone. The Power Stone, I actually went with technically an Earthling, um, a mutant Atlantean,
oh,
Namor. I went with Namor because
yeah.
just for the sheer fact of his, like he's a powerful being in his own right, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's physically strong and all that stuff, but also I felt like he was smart enough to use it appropriately. Where I feel like there were a lot of others that I was thinking about who wouldn't be able to use the stone properly. So like I know the idea is to keep it safe, but like to also keep it safe, you're gonna have to use the stone. Let's be honest.
Yep.
And so like he would be somebody who was be physically strong enough that should be able to handle the power, um, but also be smart enough to know when to use it because it is draining to the body.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that he has an army as well is also another factor, and a powerful army at that. Like their people are obviously significantly stronger than humans, so that was
Yep.
another reason why I went with him with the Power Stone, um, which was just. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I went with him just for that reason, just power alone and his leadership skills and his intelligence too, because I mean he's one of the founding members of the Illuminati. I mean, they made some dumb stuff, like they did some stupid things, but like realistic, well, like sending Hulk away, and then he comes back and ready to destroy Earth. But I mean, like the ideas were there. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, so that's why I went with him with the Power Stone. So the next one on the list is the Mind Stone. That was the third stone that we saw. Oh wait, no, that's a lie. Reality Stone was in Thor 2. So I'm sorry, the Reality Stone. Who did you have for the Reality Stone? For me, there was only one person I could think of.
So
Actually,
for
there were.
this,
I was thinking of a few, but continue. Sorry, I keep interrupting.
so so for this one, I tried to do a little bit of research. I tried to do something a little bit more unique and more in base with, I guess, the comics. Um, I went with Star. Apparently, in the comics,
I
the
don't know who
Reality
stars.
Stone, the Reality Stone specifically chose Star to be its protector.
Okay,
Um, I do have it pulled up. Origin, she was a student of Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers,
okay.
and at one point,
Was she just
she
called Star?
yes, as far as
Okay.
I know, her human name is Ripley Ryan, I believe. No, yeah, yeah, Ripley Ryan. She was so when the stone came to her, it gave her powers, and uh, I mean, honestly, that was the whole reason I chose it is because some when the I don't remember the whole story. I think Adam Warlock had all of the stones, and he had given them the ability to like fend for themselves and give them their own consciousness. And the reality stone ended up seeking out this girl and chose her to defend it because it
Okay.
saw something in her. So I was like, you know what? It's a fitting story. You know what? If the stone specifically chose you, I'm going to choose you too.
That's fair enough. So I'll tell you who I was thinking about. So for this one, I was thinking potentially Mr. Fantastic, somebody who could understand reality. I was also thinking of Franklin Richards, who is the son of Mr. Fantastic, who is basically like literally the messiah of the mutants. Like he can create, he literally can create a universe in his hands in like a second. Be like,
Damn.
it's done. Um, but I decided against it because I thought like who better to defend it, because technically, Franklin could just make his own universe and where there are no stones. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But and technically this person could too, but I went with Scarlet Witch. I went with Wanda. I mean, it's a very
I
simple
almost went with
answer.
her.
Oh, you did?
I almost did.
No. Oh, almost did. I was gonna say, I thought you said Star. No, so
No.
I was like, I was like, well, who else could it be? Like, she's literally the embodiment of the reality stone. She
Yep.
manipulates reality. And so that's why I went with her. And she's powerful. I mean, she's definitely able to hold her own against a lot of people. I mean, we see her go up against Thanos by herself, one handed, with literally one hand behind her back.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and
No,
she's powerful.
I thought she was like one of the obvious ones when
I
when
agree.
I was going through the stones. I was like, yeah, she's a pretty obvious one. So I'm like, I don't want to go with her unless I can't think of someone else. But
I agree with
she
you.
was one of the she for the longest time she was like the top contender for me.
I agree with you, but I went with her because I just, in my mind, it made no sense for anybody else.
Agreed.
Like I said, I
I do
did think
agree.
about Franklin Richards, but I was just like, in my mind, he's a kid. Like, even though he's like, there's many renditions of him where he's not a kid, but like in my mind, he's a kid, and I'm like, why are we gonna trust a stone to a child?
That's true. That's a
You
good
know what I'm
point.
saying? Like that's my
Yeah.
thought, and like even no matter how powerful he is, in my mind, it's just like I wouldn't do that. And so that's why I went against it. All right, so that's excellent. So the next one on the list was from Age of Ultron, which was the Mind Stone. Although it technically was in Avengers also, but it had a bigger role in Age of Ultron.
Okay. So for the Mind Stone, I had gone it down to three people,
So
humans.
before you say your three, I literally had only one person in mind for this. So continue.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. This puts a little bit more pressure on me. I ended up going with Professor X. We're on the same. We did the same.
Mhm.
That's awesome. There we go.
Who were your contenders? Because I'm curious.
Tony Stark or Mr. Fantastic.
Hilarious, because yes, no, you're correct. No, like as much as I want to bust your chops, but like no, I agree with you. Um, but no, I went with. And why did you go with Professor X? I'm pretty sure
I
it's the
went,
same reason.
well, I mean, he's the most powerful mutant. With his just his mind being so powerful. Um, okay, I misspoke with the most powerful mutant part, but like he's one of the most formidable mutants. Um,
He's one of the
and
best telepaths.
what?
If he's not considered the best, he's considered one of the best telepaths.
Yes, yes, that's the word I'm trying to get at. And just the fact that he guards his students with all of his power, and just the being able to organize everything. I'm sure that he could have him on his own could probably hold off most beings, and the fact that he has his students behind him and his team with him behind him for most part, I feel like if he can't do it by himself, he would have backup with him. I just see him as just being able to, you know, uh, I had everything in mind for what I was going to say, and now that I actually have to say it, I'm like blanking on it, and I can't think of why.
No, it's
So
awesome. No, it's perfect. It's only when you need to talk about it. No,
exactly,
for me, it was the fact that it amplifies his power. So
yeah,
therefore, he's powerful without it, and I agree with you. And yes, he has the students, but I'm taking them out of the equation in this sense because I'm like,
hmm
a mano a mano. Let's pretend for a second that he could not only could he do it by himself most times, and we agree on that, but the amplified power from the Mind Stone itself increases his powers significantly to the point where even those that could resist him might not be able to with the Mind Stone, which would mean he could actually protect the even better because of that. And also, he'd be able to manipulate the I don't want to say manipulate the stone, but like use the stone's power better because of his abilities.
That was one of my things too. I was thinking about it, like, because he's so powerful, his mind wouldn't be corrupted by the stone.
Correct.
Um,
I agree with you. Um, and then the next one on this list, because we've done. Oh no, time
Time
stone.
stone. Okay, I went.
There were a lot of people I was thinking about for this. I will say that.
I literally went with, wow, it was in the MCU. I went with Doctor Strange.
And I'm assuming why it was just because it's the Eye of Agamotto.
Yeah, it's how
Okay.
I know it. So
No.
it's
And
just
that's so I won't tell you who it is yet that I picked, but like I was thinking of Magix, who is Colossus's sister. I was thinking of Suri, Cersei,
Cersei.
the woman, the
Yeah,
woman we see in the end of Doctor Strange 2.
I think
The
it's
one who,
Cersei.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking of Doctor Strange. I was also thinking of Wanda. I was also thinking of, but I because she went with reality, I took that away. But she was up there. And then who was the other? Oh, the ancient one. Um, so I went with Doctor Strange because I felt like he was the most powerful out of all of them.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Um,
well, there we go.
it was really down to the wire of Doctor Strange and Magix. Um, but I felt like because I was like Doctor Strange is so obvious, but I'm like I think he's also still the most powerful one.
Hmm.
Um, although there was nobody I could think of in my mind that could manipulate the time stone better than him. Meaning, I'm not saying others couldn't, but like with his power and abilities and everything else, like his time, he could do stuff to help with it completely.
Well, I mean,
Um,
he's known as the most powerful sorcerer supreme. So with how much power he has, he could definitely be able to control it.
yes, no, I agree with you. Um, sorry, I got a text from somebody. I do apologize. Um, but no, I agree with you. I think he also the other person I was thinking about too, although he got kicked off the list rather quickly, was Doctor Doom. Mostly because I
Yeah.
can't trust him. But no, because
Yeah.
he's
No.
gone back in
Exactly.
time. He literally created magic. Like that's one of his things. Like he went back in time and created magic, and then spent the entire like he instead of teleporting back to the present, he just waited. He was like, I'm gonna practice magic until I'm back in my own time, and I'll wait until I teleport back in time, and then come back in, all powerful and stuff. So he was definitely somebody I was thinking for that, but he got kicked off
No,
rather
definitely
quickly
can't trust him.
because I can't trust him exactly. No, that's I 100% agree with you. I'm just stating like that was my thing. All right, and the final stone, the Soul Stone.
Uh, I went. I went with the gardener.
For those of us who don't know, because I don't know,
I thought you actually would have. He's an elder.
I'm looking it up. Give me a second. I'm using my Rolodex.
You're using Rolodex. Okay. Yeah, let me see. I
It's just
think.
called the Gardener.
Yeah.
Huh. I
Ord
keep,
Ord Zeon Zoings Ord Zoing. He's one of the elders of the universe. Um, he's
keep talking.
the true origins, like all
Oh,
elders of the universe.
it's a Celestial Gardener.
Yes,
It says gardeners. Does that sound right?
he should only be one.
There should only be one. Oh, okay. I got it.
I mean, there's a bunch of elders, and each
Nope,
one
I
is
got it.
assigned a role. Him, he likes gardening, so he's literally a gardener.
Well, gardening in a different way, correct?
Yeah. It's just the role that they took. It just happens to be, their identity kind of thing.
I got you. I got you. Okay, sorry. Continue.
So he, like all elders of the universe, have been lost in time due to being one of the oldest living beings in the universe. They are one of the last survivors of a race that had evolved after the Big Bang. They're technically considered siblings because they're all considered from the last of their race, so they all call themselves brothers and sisters. They all have extended lifespans, and they all work through their single-minded hobby. And because they have such a long lifespan, they are considered immortal.
Yep.
And yada, yada, yada. They're one of the most powerful beings in the universe, just like every other Marvel character.
Yeah.
But I went with him because of the fact that he is such an old character. He is such an old being that I felt that was more fitting with the Soul Stone, because he had so much experience and so much knowledge that it could he's so powerful that he could protect it. Didn't really have anything to do with the Soul Stone actually, like its powers actually being able to enhance him or anything. I just felt that because of his age and knowledge and
well, in a way, it does work with him because he creates life. So, like, it wouldn't be all that far fetched.
yeah.
I mean, I don't necessarily think his powers are related to it,
Yeah.
but I think he would know how to use it better than most.
Yeah.
So I
because of his ability to
old.
like I said, because of his age, because of he's wise, and I actually can't say he's wise, but because of his age and his knowledge, and like you said, he has the ability to create life because that's one of his uniquenesses of his hobbies. But it does match with the Soul Stone a little bit. I misspoke on that, but
no, but I do agree with you. It's his powers aren't enhanced by it, or significantly. I get that.
Yeah.
So I went with somebody who would benefit from the Soul Stone.
Oh Jesus!
And there are some people who need to manipulate souls. And who's somebody that you know that manipulates souls that you would trust
I would trust
to manipulate souls?
I don't know who.
Ghost Rider.
I know. I wanted to see your face.
Ghost Rider. So, my original, my first thought that went away right away was Mephisto, because I was like, but then I'm like, no. Like, he's powerful enough, he'd be able to use it properly, but like, no.
Can't trust him. Definitely not trust him.
Ghost Rider, I trust a heck of a lot more.
Okay, that makes sense.
And it would enhance his abilities and everything else. But yeah, no, I just thought of him. Like, he's first off, I because of the death battle between him and Lobo, I didn't know how powerful Ghost Rider was without the stone. With the stone,
oh, forget about it. Forget about it.
Take it from me. No, come closer. Come closer. Come closer. I promise I won't use my chain. Snaps his fingers. Soul disappears. Takes it as dessert.
No, that's a really good one for that one. Absolutely, I agree with that.
Yeah, and I had such a hard time with the Soul Stone because even though it seems so obvious after I say it, but like I was like, there was so many people that were coming to my head. Like, who can I trust to manipulate souls? Like, I'm like Mr. Fantastic. It doesn't make sense. Tony Stark, no. Like, I went through this huge Rolodex. Like, there were so many people I was thinking of, but like they were all like, no. And then all of a sudden, I don't know what it was. I don't know if I happened to click on something or whatever, but I see Ghost Rider and I was like, duh.
He's a perfect fit for that.
Agreed. No, 100%. So that, everybody, is who we think should protect the Infinity Stones. Let us know in the comments, do you agree? Who would protect your Infinity Stones? That's what I'd want to know. Let us know in the comments below. We'll decide if we agree with you or not. All right, we are going to be moving on to what we always do, at the end of our podcast, which is doing a character spotlight on two characters that are, well, let's just say, very different. Well,
I
they're
mean,
people that we really don't know, or people that the world might not know all that much of.
not mainstream.
No, and I am actually doing something that you did the last time that didn't air. I'm using a variant of a well-known character.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So, would you like to go first, or do you want me to?
With the way you were saying it, I thought you were going. I'll go. I don't care.
No, I'll go. I'll go. Because
All
that way
right,
we
go.
can end with you talking. Um,
Great.
we're talking about Earth 295. What is this? What's happening? Apocalypse has taken over the world. This is Age of Apocalypse. The world is being destroyed. Apocalypse has taken over. He's made everyone his pet. Anybody who defied him was beneath his boot. What character are we talking about here, ladies and gentlemen? We are talking none other than Hank McCoy, aka Dark Beast. Now, this character was named Dark Beast because this particular character used to work. So this is, remember, this is 295 Earth. It is not 616. So follow my logic here.
What
This
logic?
is not the Hank McCoy we know. This one worked with Mr. Sinister to manipulate mutants to create an army. So he did what Mr. Sinister likes to do: manipulate mutant DNA, manipulate mutants in general, torture them, and everything else. This was not a good guy. So he has all the same powers as the Beast that we know, but none of the things we like. None of the things we like. He is not kind. He does not care about anyone's feelings, and he'll kill somebody without even a question. He'll only keep you alive long enough to experiment on you, just enough to know how you tick.
Wow.
Yeah, messed up. So that world is messed up in itself. At one point, he was sent to Earth 616, which is actually where he gets the name Dark Beast. So technically, he was just Beast in his universe, which makes sense because he was the only one.
Yep.
Although I think the name was given more, not so much of his appearance, but how he acted, which is a little bit of a difference, but realistically, he looked exactly the same. So when he gets to 616, he actually tries to help Apocalypse in that universe take over. So like he's tasked with the idea of well, you're going to 616 because we must take over the entire multiverse.
We must
And
expand.
yeah, let's expand basically. Doesn't go well. Gets taken out rather easily, and he's obviously named Dark Beast because he's the evil version of Beast, which is not all that like creative, but it is what it is. He also survived M Day. So M Day is I believe, if I remember correctly, is the day that hold on. I want to say it is sorry. I want to say it's when Scarlet Witch gets rid of all mutants. Yes. Okay. Yeah. M Day is when Scarlet Witch makes it so there's no mutants, no more mutants, and so he actually survives it. He also keeps his powers, which is very interesting, and he also joined the Dark X-Men. So there was a group of X-Men that came to be that were created to go after to basically be the Dark Heroes. So very very much think of it like this was also when like the Dark Avengers came to be. So this was like Iron Patriot. This was when Venom was Spider Man, Bullseye was Hawkeye. So he was Dark Beast. He was the Beast, right? For the
Mm-hmm.
Dark X Men. So he was part of that crew, and also he returned to his own world for a short period of time because everyone likes 616. he gets brought back and is captured. So he's kind of got a shitty life. But no, I think the coolest thing about him was this got to see a sadistic form of Hank McCoy, because we've always seen him as an intelligent mutant who was kind-hearted, cared about the human race along with mutant kind, right? He cared about peace for everybody, and we see him in this instance being the villain, being the sadistic one who would dissect a mutant just to see how they tick. And I think for me, that makes it so much scarier and makes it
Absolutely.
prove that like Beast can be um more dangerous than Wolverine.
Yeah. No.
Um,
Wolverine is strong, but with if I mean because Hank is so smart, if he if he like in that universe, if he goes to the wrong side, he can be very dangerous.
yeah, I'd rather go with Wolverine because at least I'm dying.
Yeah, Wolverine is just straight to the point.
Beast's gonna keep me alive long enough to open me up, see what's inside. It's not gonna be pretty. I'm not, he's gonna make me watch. Like he's gonna take my eyes, put them down, and like let's watch this happen.
That's man. You
Yeah,
get
isn't
good
it?
ones.
Isn't it sad? Like at first I was against talking about this one because I'm like everyone knows Beast, but I'm like no, this one needs to be talked about because this one's not Beast.
No, definitely not.
I mean, it's
Definitely not.
I will say out of all the things that I don't like, I like the idea of this character. Do not get me wrong. My only issue is the name. The name is like one of the worst qualities of this character, Dark Beast. I would rather of it be named something better, or if they just kept it Beast. I don't know. I feel like the dark part just kind of makes it almost a little childish, but definitely not childish in what he does.
So I'm going to use that last little bit that you had to segue into mine. So you said that you didn't like the name, but they wish they changed it. My character is also a variant of a well-known DC character, except instead of it being the same name, his name is changed to Omega, the last knight on Earth. He is from the Elseworld universe. He is
Can you give a little background on what Elseworld is?
it's an alternate Earth. A bunch of different storylines. Depends on which character you're looking at. You can alternate their stories significantly. In
No,
this
I meant
case,
like, well, I was gonna say is like, is there like a significant event in that universe? So like for me, 295 is the Age of Apocalypse. Is like there a significant event, or is it just more of like just an alternate universe, and it's like this is what the characters are with these different stories?
let me look up exact to be specific.
No, I'm just curious because, like I said, the only reason like I didn't know Age of Apocalypse was its own universe. I thought it was part of 616. Um, but I found out not this recent. I found out before, but I didn't realize it was its own universe.
So it says it's a publication that takes place outside of the company canon. It specifically says, unlike its Marvel comic counterpart, What If, which bases its stories on a single point of divergence from the regular continuity, most Elseworld stories instead take place in entirely self-contained continuities whose only connection to the canon DC are the presence of familiar characters.
Okay, okay, I got you. So it's a massive what if universe.
Pretty much.
Oh, okay. That's their gimmick. Okay, perfect.
Literally.
All right, continue. Omega Knight.
Omega is Batman.
I figured.
I figured. So, he is the last knight on Earth. He is an elderly Bruce Wayne who, through all of his life experiences, instead of becoming a beacon of hope in the Dark Knight, he decides to become an evil authoritarian and take over the world. Literally, his entire story is the same. parents were killed, goes along, sees what's going on, everything is the same.
Mm-hmm.
Becomes Batman after going away for a short time and training and fighting crime in Gotham. But at one point, the world collapses. There's a global turmoil. The world collapses, and apparently there is in this universe, it Batman, while going and searching for, Batman finds a corpse of a kid. He turns out that he and analyzes it. It's been there for decades. He analyzes it, and apparently it's the son of the killer who killed his parents. At first it was nothing, but then he realized after analyzing it that the reason why the killer went after his parents is because it turns out that Bruce's father had done some illegal stuff to his son, that kid, and it ended up getting him killed. So because Bruce's father was a bad doctor and killed the guy's son, he decided to kill Thomas Wayne.
And Martha.
Huh?
And Martha.
And Martha. 2 for 1.
Collateral damage.
Yeah. So basically, Bruce just over years, instead of keeping the hope, he lost faith in humanity, and because he kept losing faith, he decided to use force and start ruling with an authoritarian rule instead of trying to see the hope in the universe. His most powerful achievement, he killed Darkseid.
Oh.
He killed Darkseid and actually found the anti-life equation. And he killed all of the Amazons. Anyone who went against him, he just annihilated. Wow. He literally used Gotham to take over the world. Like, Gotham was his home base, and he used it to just expand and take over the world, take over the earth.
I can't even get mad. That's awesome.
I just love that you're like about to give me like sass, and you hear dark, and you're like,
I literally didn't need to hear the rest of the statement. I was just like, damn.
So in this universe, actually, so first of all, Alfred actually knew that Batman was Omega, obviously, and he basically just went along with it. He trusted Bruce. He figured he was doing the right thing, and eventually he turned around and actually cloned Bruce. He cloned Batman and raised the new Batman to be the complete opposite of Omega, and used this Batman to then eventually kill Batman, or to kill Omega. So for a while, he was going along with it. He trusted him, but eventually he saw it was getting too far.
And he raised a good Bruce.
Then he raised a good Bruce to kill the bad Bruce.
Take out yourself. Go take him out. Oh, God.
So in this universe...
That's messed.
In this universe, there's a crisis on the planet. Like I said, it's in turmoil. Superman and Lex Luthor are... there's a debate. They decide to have a debate about whether to go through seeing the world in like the good, seeing the hope, or seeing it in the evil way and the authoritarian rule. So they had a debate, by the end of so the way the debate was working, they had to convince the crowd and each other which side was more logical. By the end of the debate, Superman had convinced Lex Luthor that the good way was the proper way. Unfortunately, the crowd sided with Lex Luthor. And the way the debate was supposed to end was whoever the crowd sided with, whoever they did not side with, was to be impaled by kryptonite. So this crowd, although Lex agreed with Superman that his way was the right way, the crowd agreed with Lex, and so the crowd ended up killing Superman by impaling him with kryptonite.
Man, are
We
you
chose
running around?
some dark alternate universes tonight.
And I didn't even pick like the saddest story. Like there's a version of Iron Man in that universe that it's like will make you cry.
I believe it. I believe it.
Oh my gosh, just like we picked depressing stuff. So correct me if I'm wrong. Was the point of him losing all hope, was that when he found the kid and he found out that his dad killed the boy, and then that's why his parents died and he just hated humanity after that? Like what was the point at this in this universe where Bruce Wayne gave up hope? Was there a significant moment, or was it kind of just always the way? This is the way.
So I guess that because it just was things that built up. That was one of the last. That was one of the final straws for him.
Okay.
It keeps going that after the death of Superman, there was a crowd that ended up going into the Hall of Justice, and instead of trying to stop them, Batman just let them in. And when he let them in, the the crowd just like attacked him and tried to beat him to death. But he didn't get he ended up surviving, and when he survived, that's when he was like, all right, I'm done seeing the good in humanity. I'm going to put them in their place.
I'm going to use Protocol 3792, and everyone's going to bow to me. And that's what
Has a
happened.
plan for everything.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. No, meaning like the plan for everything. I do love that storyline. Just sounds awesome, but it also sounds so complex too. Like I think one of the things are with the multiverse is like you have to learn all these new characters, even though they're the same character, and like
Mm-hmm.
figure out what their backstory is because they're not the one you really know. And it's like, and like don't get me wrong, they have some great stories, and like some like real reasons as to why they are the way they are. But like, man, that's just a lot to learn.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
hard enough keeping track of the regular universe, let alone the offshoots. But awesome. Definitely. I'm definitely going to try to pick a more lighthearted person next podcast. But the big thing for me was the fact that we covered a lot. But I think the big thing too is right now we are 100% going to be posting on YouTube this episode. There was a technical issue with the last one. None of Mike's recordings made it. Um, but and we're also going to attempt to put it on Anchor, but there's still some heavy issues with that. But the main one is going to be YouTube and moving it into that location permanently. So that if you want to find us there, you can find us where you are right now, which is the Black Heel Podcast. Um, Other than that, we're going to be next episode. We'll be talking about apparently the season finale of. Well, no, we were planning on talking about the season finale anyway, of the Bad Batch, and then the next two episodes of the Mandalorian, and then we'll see what's going to happen for Marvel and DC. But for right now, this is going to be Scott and Mike signing out of the Black Eel Podcast. Have a good night, everybody.